welcome back to another video.
Hi.
So today we are going to share our birth story.
Yeah.
So we already uploaded a birth vlog, but we thought it's good to talk also about the Adno's birth and also a little bit more to talk also how giving birth in Korea is, because I think it's very different from how it is in other countries, especially in Europe and in the US. Like, I never gave birth in other countries, but just because since while getting ready to give birth, like birth preparation, I took birthing classes from other countries. Are there birthing classes in Korea?
한국에도 있을 거야.
Yes, but
because I don't know because yes.
It's all in Korean,
Yeah.
so that's why I was interested in having it in English and in German. So I read a lot about German midwives suggest, and also I took a course of birthing class in the UK, and I saw that the things are like what they suggest and what people here in Korea suggest are very different. So yeah, this a little bit like to introduce what we're going to talk about today. And yeah, let's talk about Ardo's birth. So how it started was very different from how Fanta's birth started, because like our firstborn daughter, the contraction started very slowly. She was 1 week late also, like after due date. And with Ardo, it was suddenly like 9 days before due date. He was born, and my water broke.
Yes, because your water broke. Yes. Usually, like second baby, they say usually come more early.
More early and also more fast, right? The thing is also the water broke in a very slow. Like, I remember it was a very calm Sunday. We were just chilling at home, and then suddenly I felt like water is coming, but it was like very slowly. That's why you already got like excited and said like, oh, I need to call my mom and we need to get ready and we need to go. And I was like, let's check first, because I'm not sure if this is really the case. But then after 1 hour or so, like water kept coming, but always slowly, and then we decided to go to the hospital.
Yes.
Also, you called the hospital, right? What did
Yes,
they say?
I called. They say then calm this water, then just don't need thing, just calm.
And
First,
also come fast, right?
Yeah, so that's why we need to go hospital, because you say, oh, I don't know so fast, but they say if water break, then exactly this time we calm,
Need to go.
because also they need to check this baby is okay, and yes, that's why we go.
Yes, that's why we went there. And I've read from a lot of sources. Usually in my home country, it's usually that when the water broke, people thought, like years ago, they said you need to lie down, because it could be that the umbilical cord could like prevent like the baby, harm the baby. But they said that nowadays they realize that this is not true, and that's why you don't need to lie down, but you rather stay moving and like move your body, because that way also the birth will be, first of all, faster, and second, you will have much less strong contractions. But in Korea was exactly the opposite. They said, right, I need to lay down. And I remember that other nurse coming, and she was really stressing a lot.
No, just like she said, just you need to lie down and don't too much stand up and cannot move, because it's dangerous.
Yes,
also,
you told me like it's very dangerous for the baby, because since there's no more water.
Yes, because if you're that she said, like if she stand up, then this water more fast come out. They need to always check this water color, but her water color a little bit like green, but this mean like he made poo inside. So if she drink this water, then it's not good. So that's why she said you need to lie down. She only know this way, right? So then she can do this. She need tell this.
Yes, of course. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying like it's something bad. I just comparing that how different it is. So basically, she said that I need to stay lay down. I had to stay lie down the whole time. Also, I couldn't go to the toilet. Remember, I had to like pee into like what is it?
This we say.
A bowl.
Yeah, like yes, like this bowl we say.
Yeah.
보조기 we say.
Okay.
Then I bring your pee in toilet and wash again. Yes, like this.
Yes, and also I was not able to drink and eat. Also that, and that's also a thing that I remember when I took the course for birthing preparation. They said drink a lot of water and also bring a lot of snacks because they really help you to cope with labor. And yes, exactly the opposite again.
Yes.
Don't drink. Also because they did the IV, right? So that's why maybe if I didn't do that, like also they said like don't do IV in my birthing class because then there are more like wires everywhere and you're not comfortable to move around. But I couldn't move around anyway, so that's why it's. But I wonder if I would have said I don't want to have this, they would have said it's okay, or they would have said no, you have to do it. Because they didn't even ask, they just do, you know?
I don't know. I'm not doctor, so but I know what you mean, but like this your style, also Korea have this hospital,
Yes.
you know? This like we say natural born,
Yeah.
this 자연주의 출산, but
You remember how
more,
much?
more expensive than this. I don't know why, but this don't have this assurance and don't have so many place.
Yes.
Only a special place. Also this book little difficult.
Yes, and like.
But this like you say, this style in Europe and America, this normal, right?
Yes, like
Usually
also
they-
normal. No, you can choose whatever you want to have. You go to the hospital and then you can say what you want. Like if you want have the IV, if you want to have your baby's heart rate monitored the whole time, then they do it. But they also suggest to do it as natural as possible.
Okay.
And just to have a comparison, because I think there are a lot of people who watch from the US and also a lot of people who watch from Europe. And I know in the US giving birth is very, very expensive. And in Europe, for example, in Italy, you don't pay anything. And in Korea, it's like it's something in between. Like just to give like an idea on how much it is to give birth in Korea, I would say giving birth and 3 days of 2 nights of hospitalization are around $1,000, and also all the medical fees and the medicine and everything that they give you, it's all together. Do you remember when you checked the natural birthing houses in Korea? You remember how much it was?
Almost 400. But this any place different. Also some place more cheap, some place more expensive. Whole price this like really most expensive, like 500.
In general, I would say that the costs to give birth in Korea are normal compared like to the US, which is like too much expensive. But if an Italian person, for example, hears about to pay just like $1,000 for giving birth, they would say like, wow, that's too much because we don't pay anything.
Yes, but other country they say like, oh, Korean so much cheap.
Yes,
But
right.
this like Korean have this just good insurance, but also cannot talk with this Italian and Europe person because they don't pay anything.
Yes,
this hospital
Europe is
because-
everything
yeah.
different, but I think in Italy we pay the least. Like it's the most social country in the world, probably. I don't know if there's another country where healthcare is so cheap as it is in Italy. And so basically, yeah, these are the prices, and that's why I think giving birth in a birthing house where you don't even have the possibility, if there will be an emergency, to have like a real doctor but still need to pay a lot, then it's, I think, better to just go to the hospital and accept what the hospital rules are. Another thing that's very different from like the Western countries is that you have to lie down while giving birth. Like they have that birthing chair that while doing research I read that it was used to, like when we were born, like 30 years ago, they had those birthing chairs where as soon as like you need to start to push, you will get like you need to lie down and the feet are up, like they spread out the feet. They even put like tape, not tape, but like like a belt on my feet, and then you cannot move at all. And then the doctor just tells you push now, and you have to push for 10 seconds and then stop again. And in other countries now, this is so much old thinking, so that's like so old-fashioned way to do that, but you just need to breathe, and it's better to be in an upright position, and because then everything is more easy, and then also the risk of tearing is much less. I'm not doctor, so I cannot say it's really like this. I'm just saying what I read, and I'm just comparing, so I'm not saying anything is better. It's just funny that when I get ready to give birth, and then everything suddenly is different, so that's why I was a little bit shocked. And I was even more shocked with Ardo, because when we gave birth with Fanta, the different thing, we were in a different hospital. First of all, you were able to stay there and hold my hand. Did you hold my hand? You were able to be there, and but in this other hospital, you were told to go behind the curtain. Yes. And that was like maybe just for the beginning, and then you can come out. Like, but no, you had to stay there the whole time behind the curtain. I was like, come on, you already saw this one time. Why are you not able to see it one more time? And also the other thing was, since I had a epidural the second time, the first time I didn't have one, but the second time I had an epidural, the pushing feeling was very different. Like I was pushing, but I felt like I cannot even move one muscle. So then suddenly one nurse, she told me in Korean, but I was so much that I didn't realize, and she suddenly so much pushed into my belly.
Oh yes, yes.
I remember that was hurting so much. I was like, what is happening? What are you doing this? Like she really took her elbow and pressed inside my belly here. And I was
like... You almost hit?
Yes, because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is hurting even more than giving birth naturally without,
really?
You know, like, for me it's okay to, when my own body is like hurting, but if someone else is hurting me, then I get like really like mad. Like I was like, what are you doing? You know, but then later she said like, we need to do this, and that was like,
yes, because this time you get this like painkiller.
Yeah.
Like that's why you like don't come, baby.
Yes.
So yes, I listen this, but I don't know you understand or not, because they behind me.
Behind the curtain.
Like behind the curtain, yes. So like, okay, let's go. But you say then like she talked again. So I explain this back then. But baby already come out. Okay. But yes, then done. Then you tell me then. Yes, because we go this first hospital, like Fanta hospital. Then yes, Lily, I stay. You were close, so also I cut this texture.
Yeah,
direct
you were not
cut.
even allowed to cut it.
Just direct cut, because also they asked me like, you want stay here or you want go out? Then yes, I won't stay here. Then okay. Then also I help together when you make this pushing.
Yeah,
then,
you supported me like every husband should do.
Yes, so I cut, but also I do texture. They already cut
Yes.
more long. Like if have this texture, yes, they cut more long. Then they keep. Yes, you can cut here. So
like they brought the baby behind the curtain where you were standing, right?
Also he already the shower or
yes.
like they wash him all the body. Then they give me this. 여기 자르세요. Okay.
This is like a joke, right?
Yeah,
this is like kidding.
So this not real.
Yes, what is this? Like I was also like.
Yes, because also they asked me before like
you want
cut or not. Yes, I want cut. Then I just like when come baby, then I need go out, so I need cut. I think this, but no, not this.
Yes.
So already cut and come give only cut here. But here don't have already cut
it's
here.
So fake,
yes,
yeah.
so I cut here, yeah. Then okay, I cut, yeah.
Well, at least you were able to cut with fun.
So much happy, yes, I cut.
that was really a joke. I felt like they are taking fun of us.
But I don't know, this like all hospital different. This you need things like this, not everyone do
in
this.
Korea,
yes,
yeah.
this only they culture.
Then another thing that I felt like a little bit angry was you remember already with Fanta, like you need to know that we went to one hospital first to do the whole checkups during pregnancy. Then they told us due to Corona we cannot do the rooming in, so that's why we choose to change the hospital last minute. And then we went to another hospital which is more like breastfeeding friendly and everything. So with Fanta we went there, and also that time I remember at the first hospital we said, because I did my research before and I heard like there are a lot of things that I didn't know at all. Like for example, episiotomy. I didn't heard of it at all before, and I was so shocked to hear about this. It's basically, for those people who don't know, is that when you're giving birth, the doctor makes a cut so that because some people they tear while doing birth, but now like some hospitals they prefer to cut before, because they say then the cut is cleaner and then they can close it more beautiful, like more clean, and it will heal much faster afterwards. And how I got to know about this is because I again read something that German midwives were talking about, and they said we had that culture also 30 years ago. They just cut beforehand, not even checking if there's the risk of tearing or not. They just cut and then they close it again. And now the culture has changed, and people think it's better to, if you tear naturally, then a natural cut is much easier to heal again than a cut that you did with the scissors. They say this, and then they also say that if you're not pushing, if you're just breathing, if you're sitting upwards while giving birth, then the risk of tearing is even lower, and many people don't even tear. So, but here in Korea, I also, if you check, I checked on internet, on Wikipedia, I checked episiotomy, and then the first thing that they say is that they don't do it anymore. Just a few countries like South Korea, they still do it. So that's why when we went to the first hospital, we said we don't want to do that.
Yes, but also this time. Oh, really?
You need to do it. So then we changed with Fanta. Then he said like, okay, I will not cut, but if he sees I need to cut, then he will do.
That's why he cut only little.
That's why we said again, the second time we also didn't want, and we went to another hospital, and with Ardo then while talking, she said like, okay.
Yeah, she said, okay,
Yeah.
let's try. She cut, I don't know, because
I don't know why,
yes.
but it's just funny because with Fanta, the doctor, before cutting, he said like, okay, I know you don't want cut, but I can see now the heart rate's a little bit the baby's stressed, and I need to cut a little bit. She didn't even tell anything. She just did, and I didn't feel because I had the painkiller, but I could hear that now she's cutting, you know, and I was like, thanks for telling me before. You know? You can't just give me like, just say, oh, I need to cut now, you know? So I feel like, oh, she just did it because she thinks like, she's a professional, she does what she wants to do. I had this feeling with this doctor.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but you know, the thing is also in Korea, they do it in such a routine, they do it on every woman, so that's why they also did a very good job, and it wasn't hurting. Also afterwards there was no hurting at all, and also the healing was very fast. Like after 1 week everything was healed perfectly. But it's just like, I feel like I cannot decide over my own body. I feel like this.
But I think it's like, when I talk you like this topic, then Korean hospital, they won't use like this more just
high level technology.
Yeah, just they won't use this high level technology, but this Europe and other country, they won't just understand, oh, okay, this natural was good. Yeah, this different, but still like we don't know what is good, because
and also for every woman it's different.
Yeah, different. So still like, although it's healthy, or you also healthy,
I'm
so
healthy, so everything is good. It's just funny to hear the difference, and we're just sharing our opinion. So yeah,
just is different. So don't worry. You can still also Korean. Yes, Korean don't make so much baby, but still you can make baby in Korea, so don't worry if you have planned this.
Yes, I'm just telling like how like people are curious to know how it is for a foreigner to give birth in Korea, because the culture is so different. I feel like a Korean woman, she doesn't know anything else, or she accepts the culture in Korea, and this is what it's most comfortable, so that's why they want to do it like this. I mean, everyone can give birth how they want, and every woman has the right to give. I just want to share what I experienced. So another thing that I was a little bit like shocked is also that when the baby was born, like there's not a lot of time that you can do the bonding time. Like first of all, you cannot do skin to skin at all. Like the baby will be on you for like 5 minutes. The baby stays at the doctor for a long time. Again, the research that I did in other languages is that they said like all the other checkups can wait. First, just bond with the baby. So also here we can see exactly the opposite. And then also another thing is that they give formula to the baby as soon as possible, and they don't even ask you if you accept that they give, like they feed the baby even before you are able to breastfeed. And I feel like everyone says if you want to be successful in breastfeeding, you should never start using something else than like your boobs, because otherwise they will get like the baby of course prefers the bottle when because the bottle is much easier to drink from.
Also this time we go many hospital, like we can together this kangaroo care, then some hospital no, then this exactly they want to give this bunyu. But you want to start this like breastfeeding, so
to sum up everything, I would say that in Korea they very much focus on high technology and also they do a good job on the epidural. Like you will feel almost nothing, because it has to be placed in a very good way in order to be effective. And I feel like since everyone is taking the epidural, they really know how to do it. And the same is also with the surgery. A lot of people, they do like the planned surgery. Yeah. I feel like in other countries they just want to go back to how women naturally give birth, and like not to think too much about it has to be something medical, because giving birth is something that everyone can do. Like this is, I think, the mindset that we have in the Western countries. I would really like to see how it is giving birth naturally, but I think we're enough with babies right now.
Yes.
So yeah, but another thing that I think is very, very good compared to, like much better in Korea compared to Western countries, is the aftercare. Joriwon, we don't have that. The first time hearing me this is when I was here in Korea, is postpartum hospitals. Like they really take care that the mom can really rest, and they are so much careful about that the woman's body heals again. So the new moms have a big opportunity to really rest, because I feel like in other countries they too fast say you need to go out with the baby every day. They somehow expect you to be back on your feet as soon as possible, but here they really say like 100 days you should just rest.
Yes, because I think this just like DNA different. And also my mom and my grandma, they say like, yes, when I make baby, then so much hurting and so much swelling, and also teeth so much, like so cannot eat little hard
stuff.
So but you don't do this, and I think this just like DNA different.
Yes, or maybe I will regret this later.
Yes, maybe. So because you already like first baby Fanta, then you make, I regret she make food, but I don't eat this.
Yes, right. Because I wanted to eat my salad. But now I ate everything.
Yeah.
I ate miyokguk every day, and also we had, apart from the postpartum hospital, we didn't go because also now with Fanta, I wanted to be close to our firstborn daughter. So going for 2 weeks or 1 month to a hospital and stay there and not seeing my daughter for such a long time, I didn't want to do this. But maybe for the first baby, I would suggest to do it. But I like being at my house and my safe space, so that's why I don't really want it to go to another place. But a thing that we really took advantage of is to have the postpartum nanny, which is like the best thing that you can have. And also the very good thing, and the reason also why we were able to afford it, is because the Korean government pays a lot for that. A vlog is coming also with her, so we will see how it is to have a postpartum nanny. Probably next week the vlog will come out. But yes, this is was about it for today's video. I hope you got a small insight on how it is to give birth in South Korea. Of course, every birthing experience is different, and some people might experience traumatic births, and some other might say it's the best birth they had given. So yeah, anyway, there's too much sunlight in our house. Okay, that was it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and yes, please make sure to like and subscribe and 구독. And yes, see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.